Today we're heading to Montana to adopt a wild Mustang. Okay, maybe I wish we were, but we are headed down to go look at some Mustangs available for adoption. We're gonna check out a few that I have my eye on, and there's also a Mustang seminar going on while we're down there, so we're gonna sit in on that too. So come along with us and let's go look at some Mustangs.
3 miles. We'll be there in 1 minute, which is perfect because it's 3:59.
Gates up at 4.
Right on time, baby.
Okay,
here it is. Check it out.
In line.
It's pretty.
This Mustang adoption is a little bit different than the ones we've gone to before. This is an in-person adoption, but it's first come, first serve, so there's a few rules. Number 1, the gates don't open until 4 o'clock.
Oh, there's quite a few people here.
There were already quite a few people in line. Everyone's gonna get 30 minutes to look at the horses, and then it's first come, first serve. If you're with a friend, you can have your friend go stand in line and hold your place while you go look at the horses, but ultimately, each person is only allowed to adopt one horse at a time. If you want to adopt more than one, then you've got to go to the back of the line to adopt the second horse. This gives a fair chance of everyone adopting a horse that they might want. This is a forever branded event, but you still have to adopt the horse through the BLM. It's still $125 to adopt a horse. The adopter still needs to fill out their application through the BLM system to get approved for adoption. These horses have not been in these pens very long. They were brought over and trucked in from Bruno, Idaho for this event. We got dumped on with snow though, and so these pens turned to mud overnight. Most of the horses here are either from Wyoming or Nevada. These particular horses were posted on Facebook before this event, so everyone got a chance to look at pictures of them. There are a bunch of really nice 2-year-old geldings from Wyoming. Most of these are from Muskrat Basin HMA. This little sorrel gelding was my favorite out of the photos, and he definitely is still one of my favorites in person. A lot of these geldings are already really friendly and tame enough that a couple people were feeding them out of their hands. They were happy to just stand next to the fence and munch all this alfalfa that they've got. The people walking up and down the aisle didn't seem to faze them at all.
What do you think so far?
Sad we can't get one. Thank you. In the next pen over was also some 2-year-old geldings. Most of these guys were also from Muskrat Basin, Wyoming. My favorite out of this pen was number 7404. There was something about him that just really reminded me of my Mustang Rooster. I liked his build, and he was also one of the taller colts in this pen.
The bay.
These boys were also really friendly and very, very curious, which was nice to see. Jason spotted a Grula mare in the next pen over. He has always been a fan of Grula mares. This girl looks pretty good size too, maybe 15'1", 15'2" hands tall.
Yeah. This little guy's totally fine just being by himself.
In that same pen was this little black mare. She's only probably 13 hands tall. She's about the size of a Welsh pony. She's from somewhere in Nevada. This other horse that they're calling a black is a pretty well built horse. She's not super tall, but I do like the way she's built. All these mares are either 4 or 5 years old, and they're all from Nevada.
Yeah.
The next pen over is a bunch of 6-year-old mares, also all from Nevada. They're a little bit more on the shorter side. And since they're 6 years old, they probably won't do much growing. This would be kind of stressful if we were actually looking at getting a Mustang this time. Jason would be over there holding a spot in line, and I would be frantically running around figuring out which one we wanted to adopt. This big old gelding really caught our eye. He's also from Wyoming. This was one big solid dude. A lot of these horses have their tails and manes chewed on, just like the horses in Burns that we looked at. A lot of these Wyoming horses have that big old Roman nose, but I honestly really like that look. This pen of 3- and 4-year-old geldings really had some nice horses in it. Next time we adopt Mustangs, we think it'd be really fun to get 2 at a time, one for Jason to work with and then one for me to work with. While these 4-year-olds were a bit more standoffish, they were definitely still very curious. There's a cute pinto in the back, but he kept hiding behind everyone. We'll try to come back around and get a little better video for you guys of this dude. I imagine he'll probably go pretty darn quick. Most of the time, if there's any horses with unique coloring, they're the first ones to get snatched up.
All right, Alyssa's already got her favorite picked out. She said, all right, I'm going to show you my favorite. So
Reminds me of rooster.
here we go. It reminds her of rooster.
That's all right.
The 04.
This guy is a 2-year-old gelding from Muskrat Basin, Wyoming. He just reminded me a lot of Rooster, and I do really like his build. He still has quite a bit of growing to do. He'll also fill out quite a bit more as well. He was probably already 14'1" or so hands tall. There were 2 grays in these 2 pens of 2-year-olds, and Jason really liked both of them.
His little face looks like him.
Yeah, it does. Comes right up to the fence, too. Huh?
You're getting lining up.
We've really been thinking hard about what our next step is. For years, our goal was to be able to support this way of life. Sharing our adventures, training horses and mules, and living out here in the mountains. And now that that's actually become a reality, it's kind of had us stepping back and asking what the next chapter looks like. It's a weird feeling. But as soon as we took the leap and decided to trust the process and go all in working for ourselves, things have started to click. Opportunities have been popping up, doors we didn't expect to have opened, and it's been exciting to see where it's all leading. We've spent a lot of time thinking about the kind of equines we want to bring in and work with, and we keep coming back to Mustangs and mules. I'm sure we'll still end up with other horses here and there, but when it comes to adopting, training, and rehoming, Mustangs are where our focus is at right now. Jason is especially excited about it. He's been ready to take on one and start the gentling process, and we've got some pretty neat plans in the works. We kind of skipped over this pen when we first walked in, but this is a bunch of 6-year-old mares. This little roan was really cute. She was pretty nervous about everything. There's a little red dun in the back who is much smaller than these other 2 mares. And then we get back to the boy that I was really liking from all the pictures that I saw. This little sorrel was my favorite before we got here. He is also a 2-year-old from Muskrat Basin, Wyoming. If you guys have been around for a while, you know that one of my favorite colors is this sorrel with a flaxen mane and tail. So even before I knew he was this friendly, I really liked this little guy. He was a lot shorter in person than I thought he was going to be, judging from the pictures. The bay that I like is definitely larger than this little sorrel. Jason's favorite out of this pen was this little gray gelding. He is also a 2-year-old from Muskrat Basin. We thought, how fun would it be if we were set up and we could bring these 2 boys home with us? Let us know in the comments below if you would be interested in one of these boys once they were gentled. The 30-minute preview was coming to an end, and it was about time for people to start being able to adopt these horses who had been standing in line. I was curious to see how fast my favorites ended up going. Right away, one of the biggest bays out of one of the 2-year-old pens got snatched up. He is a really good size for only being a 2-year-old. I think he's probably about the same size as our half-draft Mesa, who is also 2 now. My favorite boy is still available for now. I just think he has the prettiest head. As to be expected, right away the Pinto got adopted as well. This is the 4-year-old gelding from Muskrat Basin, Wyoming. He actually is fairly friendly, and he'll come clear over near the fence to eat when there's not a ton of people out in front of his pen. He is a big stout boy too, although he's not super tall. This little bay with the blaze is one of my favorites out of here, and he's only a 3-year-old.
Well, the first 2 picked were a really sweet and calm bay from up in that corner, and then this Pinto that's down here on this far end. He's pretty curious too, but a lot of nice, calm horses here.
Okay, here's the
This
deal.
is really fun.
If tomorrow my favorite bay or my favorite sorrel is still here, we're gonna adopt it. If it's still available. It's just meant to be, it's a sign.
That's the deal.
Yeah, that's the deal.
Wait, what was your second one? Your favorite bay or what one?
The sorrel.
With the little mud clumps on its belly?
They all have mud clumps on their bellies.
That's true.
Yeah.
He has a lot though.
Guess what? The Pinto's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah. It's pretty stout too, and
He's cute.
he just walked right up. He was a little timid, but not bad. These guys got absolutely dumped on with snow today, and so it's a little bit muddy here in these pens, but this is a super nice facility. Like,
Really nice.
This is awesome. This is, in my opinion, so far a great way to come get a good look at a Mustang and pick one up.
Yeah. Big, stout fences. These are nice panels.
Yeah, they are nice panels.
These are like what are at the actual BLM facility.
It's a sweet view too. This is beautiful. We're in, what would this be, like kind of southwestern Montana, and it is absolutely a stunning place to look at horses.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. I like this. At first I was like, I would never adopt one from this kind of event. I want to go to the BLM holding facility and spend some time there, but this is actually pretty cool. Aside from the little bit of stress of having to go up and get in line and hope your horse is still available, you can really see them up close here, where at a facility a lot of times they can go to the far end and it's kind of hard to really see them. So I guess the way that this event goes is it's first come first serve. So you come, look at the horses, write down the ones that you like, and then you go up and you do the paperwork and purchase them up there, first come first serve. So it's kind of fun. There's some excitement. People are like writing down their plan A, plan B, zip up to the barn and see if it's available, come back, choose plan C. It's kind of fun.
As you can imagine, it didn't take very long for the little sorrel to get adopted. This guy was pretty friendly. The kids were even petting him on the nose already. The big roan mare was one of the first ones to get adopted as well. With some horses starting to get adopted, it was time to start loading horses out. Matt Bischof over here in Hamilton, Montana sure has an awesome facility. Despite the mud, he was able to load all the horses with no problems. I was impressed with the horse he was riding. It's just 4 years old and it handled all the commotion flawlessly. After watching a few of the horses get loaded out, it was time to head over and check into our motel room. But we'll be back in the morning and the seminar is tomorrow morning. Thankfully, there was a big grassy field next to the motel, and the dogs were able to get a little exercise after being cooped up all day.
That was a good throw.
Good boy, squirrel. Good boy. Good boy. He doesn't know to wait for you to throw it. So you gotta throw it right in front of him.
It's like it works every time. I run and it just lands in front of me.
Yeah. Good boy, Squirrely.
Welcome. Check that out. How cool is that? Mustang. Got the Mustang brand. Here to look at Mustangs. Got a motel room with a Mustang picture in it. So, meant to be. Means we gotta get one.
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
We stopped by a local cafe to grab some breakfast and some coffee the next morning, and we ran into a couple that watches our channel. They were amazing people, and it was so awesome to visit with them for a while. We parked in a different spot today, and I couldn't help but go and pet this adorable little Appaloosa mini horse. I'm not sure how old this guy is, but he was so tiny and so itchy.
Oh, little kid. Look at it. I just want to pick it up and take it home. It's just a baby. It's just a little fluffy baby. He's so itchy though. Okay, who thinks I need this for inside the house? You can live with the dogs. It would probably get that big, but still. Look how tiny it is right now. He's just a baby. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you are the cutest. I just want to snuggle you.
All right, we're getting back. It's Saturday morning now, and we're gonna see what's still available, what didn't get snatched up on the first evening. So they have a bunch marked off on these papers here.
It looks like all the 2-year-olds out of this pen have been snatched up other than this bay.
Oh, the gray's still available in this pen.
Gray's still available. This big old guy is still available. The only two that are gone are two favorites. 4, 4, but this big one too, he's still available.
Say that again.
The two favorites, the one that reminded me of Rooster, he's gone. This big old one, the Star, he's gone. He was my other favorite. But that gray's still available, and then this, he's a pretty solid looking guy. He's still available, this bay. And then this little bay is still available, but it's pretty small. But that guy is actually pretty good size, too. This is my second favorite, this big one. He's got a nice hip. Yes. You're so cute.
you have any questions, grab one of us. I'm going to be doing a generaling demo at about 10 o'clock.
There were still quite a few bays left in the 4-year-old pen.
The gray's nice and in that
I'm kind of surprised this one's still available.
bay back there. Nice.
And then what's that one's number? That's still available?
Yeah, 4-2. Nice for muskrat, I guess. Yeah, that little gray and
This little gray gelding and this little bay gelding are both still available this morning. We both really like each of these horses.
She's so pretty.
This big, tall, solid Goulamere is still available as well. Any horses that don't get adopted this time are going to be available again in about a month at another one of these events. You can find out all that info if you look up Mustang Matt on Facebook or Instagram, or on the BLM website. They have it under the adoption events.
Well, there's definitely still some nice ones available. We're getting ready to watch the little demonstration Q&A clinic deal that Matt's putting on. We just got to talk to him, and super nice guy. I'm really excited to see what he does with this horse. He's going to choose one of these horses that hasn't been purchased yet and work with it today. So that it should be really enjoyable to watch. And then after the clinic, we'll see what all's left. People still have the day to come and pick out and pick up horses, so we'll see what's left over after today. But so far this has been really fun. I'm thankful the sun is out. It's a beautiful day, and he's going to be working with one of the Mustangs in his outdoor arena today, so I think we're in for a treat. This should be really enjoyable. What do you think about it so far?
That's awesome. I'm really excited to watch the demonstration. He's got another one coming up next month, which will be really fun, and so we'll definitely come watch it. So we'll see today's demonstration, and seems like an awesome guy though, and some nice horses, man. Big old stocky things. Hey, some of these 2-year-olds are big boned. There's some really nice, what are those 4-year-olds over there, those geldings? There's a lot of them left. So he has another adoption event this coming month as well. It sounds like all these same horses, whatever doesn't get adopted, they'll be available again then. So anyway, if you guys see one you like, there's a chance it'll still be here, so come get it.
Matt picked out a 4-year-old bay gelding that hadn't been adopted yet to use as his demonstration horse, so he's going to go ahead and get him sorted off and bring him up into the outdoor arena. He's got a little round pen set up there, and that's where he's going to do his generaling demonstration. It was nice to talk to Matt about his ideal Mustang pen setup. The plan we had going forward was actually his identical setup a while back, and he has since changed that, so it was nice to talk to him before we got everything set up. We're going to change plans a little bit and set it up differently when we do move on to a bigger property. We've got some things in the works, and if those go as planned, then we'll be able to adopt a couple Mustangs sooner than later.
I'm going to work with this colt. He's a 4-year-old. I think he's from Muskrat Basin. Amanda picked him because he's kind of homely looking and he looks like he needs a home, so we thought we'd work with him. And then if somebody wants to adopt him, he'll be much further along. We've got some nice horses still available down there, so if you guys are interested in adopting one, we can actually do all of our loadouts today. But the thing I really wanted to focus on today is communication with our horses when we first get them home. So when I first started tip training, I had a pretty nice setup. It was alleyway and it had a round pen at the end, and I'd take them out of the pen. Had 24 by 24 pins, and I'd take them out of their pen and I'd run them down to the round corral, and I would work them in the round corral, and then I would bring them back to their pen. And what I learned was two things that I learned right off the bat. I had a 55-foot round pen, and I learned that it was too big. I wasn't really able to communicate effectively with that big of space. You have super flighty ones, it can feel like a small round pen like this. This is 7 panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wait, 1, 2, 7 plus a gate. So this is roughly, if I'm doing my math right, about 25 feet, a little bit under. This is about the minimum square footage that you would have for your horse, which is 400 square feet, okay? Doesn't have to be round too, by the way. I set this up at like 11 o'clock last night in the dark, so it looks pretty round actually. It's not bad. But what I realized and I learned is that 60 feet was too big. When I wanted to try to communicate with that horse, I wasn't able to apply the pressure and release the pressure with accurate timing to kind of get my effectiveness. So I started trying to kind of fine tune things and learn, you know, how to, and I kind of just stumbled across, I just started working them in their 24 by 24 stalls, and I found that was a lot more effective for two reasons. First of all, the thing I liked about it is that I was able to release the pressure when I got to a good place and just walk away. Whereas when I had my setup with my round pen, I would get to a good spot to stop, and then I would have to open the gate and then bring the horse down and put him in his corral. So he's not necessarily soaking, so I'd get him elevated before, I couldn't just soak on the good note, if that makes sense.
We have been thinking about doing the same setup, 4 different pens, an alley, and then a round corral. But after listening to Matt and talking with Matt about this, I definitely think we'll probably go ahead and do 4 little round corrals, maybe 30 foot or so. And that's where our new Mustangs are just going to live and also be worked with. A 30-foot round corral is pretty small, and Mustangs like Rooster would be fine in the 60-foot round corral. But Mustangs like Honey that are so sensitive, the 60-foot round corral is too big. It's funny that we talked to Matt about this because we were just making plans to move some panels into Honey's round corral now that we feel like her ulcers have healed, and move on to kind of the next step with Honey. And in order to do that, it means putting her in a little smaller space. So it was good to know that I was on the right track. Another thing that cracked us up is we've been brainstorming what to do with Honey next, and literally everything Matt does in this demonstration is what we've started working on. So it was good reassurance that we're on the right track.
And so make the right thing easy, the wrong thing hard. Now that sounds easy, and it is pretty easy, but we have to have accurate timing and then also feel. Those are 2 really important components of the pressure and release kind of thought of training horses. One thing that I've learned too with training horses is that this whole method of pressure and release and natural horsemanship that a lot of trainers have adopted, if we think about it and break it down, and when I would kind of start to learn my journey and I'd learn how to communicate with the horse, well, that's how horses communicate in the herd. Okay? Horses are not like us. They are a species that, first off, is a herd animal. If you give them, even in the wild, you have bachelors that don't have the ability to fight and get mares, they will actually bachelor up in a herd. Horses are herd animals, right? They're used to being with other herd horses. Okay? And so within that herd, there's also what we call a hierarchy or a pecking order. I'm trying to learn is understand more of that pecking order and that communication that goes on and that dynamic, because that's a huge part in my experience with horse training. And we've heard the term, and it's thrown out there quite often, where horses are defiant, right? Has anyone ever experienced that with a horse? I know I have. we ask them to do stuff and they say, no, I don't want to do it. And it could be anything. Okay? And I started trying to understand that, right? And go, okay, well, why are horses defiant? Well, you think of like I think of, I'm defiant because I think with human beings, we kind of have maybe pride involved. I don't want to be told what to do. And I think with horses, they are defiant because it comes back to self-preservation. If a horse is told by another horse what to do and they move their feet, they're accepting the role lower in the pecking order, right? Which means what? They're not going to have the best food. They're not going to be able to eat out of that hay pile when they want. They're going to be moved off that hay pile. They won't have breeding rights, right? So I think that when horses are defiant, they're born with a natural defiance to say, I don't want to move my feet. I don't want to let you move my feet, because if I do that, I have to accept the fact that I might not have a good meal. And it's survival. I don't think with horses that there's pride involved, right? And I'm on a journey like in my horsemanship, and this is really hard for me. At times, we let emotion, or I do, I should say, I'll speak for myself, I let my emotion affect my training based on what the horse is doing. And I've learned I gotta learn to control my, but it's easy to get frustrated when these guys are being a knucklehead, right? And that's okay, but that's not, in my experience, as effective as we can stay level-headed, cool, calm as a leader, right? And have expectations, but then also not let that emotion. So I'm going to get after a horse at times, absolutely, but I try to do it in a way where I'm not letting that horse getting me mad. And that's any emotion too, or fear. Fear can be another emotion. If I'm allowing a horse to affect me in a way where I'm getting very fearful, then they're not going to look to me as that leadership. I'm going to go in here and work with him. And if we have any questions, but I really want to focus today's clinic on, we're going to, work on gentling and work on some techniques, but on that, I really want to focus today on the communication and really pick apart everything that I do with communicating with that horse. And it can be communication, it can be through a lead rope, it can be through our legs when we're riding them. There's a number of ways. The goal is to establish a leadership role with this horse, or any horse, or my saddle horse, or any horse, to be able to connect. I know that sounds kind of a little bit woo-woo, right? But to connect with them, right, where they're an extension of us. We're one unit. It's a dance, right? It's a dance without touching him. It's a dance when I'm riding him. It's a dance when I'm leading him. If this horse can be an extension of me, then I can do anything with him, any discipline I want. But most importantly, it's going to keep me safer, because if he goes into self-preservation, it's usually not a good spot for me or him. My biggest hole, or my horse with the most holes, it was my very first Mustang. And it's, because we're learning. And I was really completely focused on, this horse is terrified of humans. And so I focused 100% on gaining his trust. And I let some disrespect things kind of go, because I was like making excuses because he was afraid. And we don't want to be a dictator, and we don't want to be really mean and really rough with him, because Mustangs I trained a lot of mules too. They're similar. They had a lot of self-preservation. Mules do too. I mean, some horses, some domestics do too. But the point is if we're really unfair and we're more like a dictator, I mean, there's some really broke horses, or I say broke in the mind, like well-bred, quarter horses that are bred to be trained, right? That you can, a lot of trainers have that kind of more, I don't want to use the term old school, but a little bit more forceful, a little bit more dictator. You do it when I say, and that's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but with some horses, they kind of start to resent you, right? And then the flip side of that is, you have the other side, which is, I'm going to do everything on the horse's terms, and it's always going to be their decision. Well, in my opinion, that's not really leadership. We got to have a good balance. I got to have a good balance where that horse is looking to me as a leader, not as a dictator, and not as their buddy, but as a leader. And when we can establish that leadership role with our horses, it's amazing how they really thrive and crave that confident leadership. They really do well with it. Okay? Any questions before we get going on any of that? And now this is really interesting. I'm actually glad that this happened because he's pretty elevated right now. So I got to get him kind of focused and quieted down on me. But he's really wanting to get back with the herd. I'm also not in there. So that's a good thing, because if I start to go in there and speak horse to him, then he's going to go, oh, this is, I mean, even though I'm a funny looking horse, remember, he's a herd animal. He wants to be with other horses, right? So it's just understanding that. Okay, let me, I'm going to go grab Cody just to give him a little bit of security, and I'll be right back. So another thing is, you might say, well, if you're going to hear me talk quite a lot about breaking things down, and he's really friendly, guys. He's trying to come out and hug you. You're going to hear me talk about breaking things down. And here's a good example. If I got to get this horse. Right now, his cortisol levels are in his brain, and he's kind of worked up a little bit. And I got to get him where he's kind of thinking and using a little bit more of the thinking side of his brain than the reactive side of his brain. So if that means by bringing another horse and quieting him, I got to figure out a way to kind of quiet him down a little bit. And again, we wouldn't really have this battle if this was his home and we fed him in here, and we, this is another thing. And so this makes it a little bit trickier, but the whole point of today is to kind of say, well, what if my horse gets really worked up? What do we do? And so this is really important. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep him, he wants to come over here. And so I'm going to just try to start a little communication with him. As he starts to kind of crowd me, I'll put just a little bit of pressure, and it doesn't take much. But if he starts to engage, then that's when I'm going to kind of pull the pressure away. But right now, we're not really going to get much done because he's just kind of really kind of worked up. And we got to get him to kind of settle down a little bit. And so right there, I kind of tried to work him on that side. And he just wanted to kind of run past me, so then I kind of had to adapt. I'm switching eyes as often as I can. So we're going to see throughout this session, he's going to go through like there. So there was a little bit of a change right there. But we don't want him to start to get worked up again. So now I got him just a little bit engaged. Was able to give him a release of pressure. And so we can be in here and do all types of things, and it's not going to be effective unless I can start to get him engaged. He's licking his lips there again, so I'm going to kind of try to switch eyes there. What I like to do, let me send him off. You notice how I got slightly behind the drive line. Now he's out of that elevated state, so I'm going to push him around. I get behind the drive line, I cut him off, and then when he kind of gives me that right eye, I release by turning and walking away. Now that sets me up to start to work on pushing and disengaging the hindquarter. He went forward, so I opened up and I said, okay, I would like you to push forward. So I'm sending and driving. My whip is my leg. My left hand is my rein. And we're driving him forward, his ribs forward, not his butt. We're driving his ribs forward. Now I like that. You see how he wanted to engage? Most people would say, well, let him, he wants to, but remember, we got to ask him, we got to be a leader. Here's another thing, like, see that lick and chew? So I'll even pull the pressure back a little bit more. But you think about it, with our horses, most of my horses are a little more nervous and watching on that right side. But we have two brains, right brain, left brain, okay? And if you think about it, I think it comes down to exposure. You think about it. When we halter a horse, when do we do it? Left side. When we bridle a horse, where's the throat latch? Left side, left side. When we cinch up a horse, typically almost every time, left side. When we lead a horse, pretty much all times left side. I think it has to do with exposure. You're like, well, that doesn't make any sense, Matt, because he's a wild Mustang. He's never been haltered. But guess what? Every facility out there, mine included, where do they brand them?
Right side? Left side?
Left side. When they come through the chutes, all the chutes in all the facilities are set up. The tilt tables, the vent, all the squeeze chutes, everything, all the care. So all the people are always on the left side. If you think about it, it's always on the left side. All those facilities, you go to any facility, Litchfield, you go up to Burns, they run the horses through, and on the right side is usually the other horses. On the left side is usually all the people. Okay, so I think it has to do with exposure. Yes, we have right and left brain. So if you say you want to get your horse a little more balanced, turn your rope halter inside out. Halter him on the right side for 3 weeks. I like to do this. I throw the saddle on the right side. Then I can let my cinches down, right? And then go around and cinch up. Personally, I love getting on both sides. But he ran into the pressure. We showed him, again, that it's a lot easier to kind of be a little bit brave than it is right there. See, no pressure on that rope there. And I actually pulled that and released that pressure away. Again, I'm not backing away. Notice I'm not on my heels anytime. I'm walking away sideways or I'm easing out of there. But again, like, see, there's a difference between come with me and push on me. That's a big difference. Good boy. So we've got two things. We've got him where he's understanding the touch and he's getting more desensitized, and then we're going to get into that bubble of his, right? His bubble is going to be just a little bit smaller and smaller, and every time we get into that smaller bubble, that's a little harder for him. That. But as he's even cruising around, I can kind of say, okay, and then I can start working that free just a little bit. Step in front, kind of stop him. Work that carabiner. There you go. And the reason people ask me, well, why, that'll rip. That stick will rip. And it will. I purposely have it just taped on there that if you get yourself into a wreck, that's just going to rip off. It's not going to be a big deal. Whereas I don't want to get hung up on something. Like, say that got hung up on something, and then all of a sudden, it's stabbing into him or something. No, that'll just rip free. And see how I even drew him to me a little bit? So now we're starting to work a little bit on that body control that when I get a halter on him, I can start to, remember, draw him to me. So now let's even work a little bit on a backup. Let's back you up a step. Good. You see how much he liked to back up, though? He got caught a postury because he doesn't like, remember what we said? Do horses like to back up? No. It's ingrained in them not to, because if they back up, then what happens is they're submissive to that leadership, and then they're down a notch in that pecking order. So let's step in front. Good. Now I'll draw him kind of to me. We'll come around, push the hip. Very nice. Push that hip. And you notice, do I even have a tool? No, at first we had the whip, then we had the halter. Now he's doing it by just, here's the extension. I'm coming out, I come around, and I'm pushing that hip. Ooh, that was nice. See how he gave me a little flip right there? He's starting to learn that I'm not here to hurt him, so I got to be real careful. That trust and respect, he's getting a lot of trust here, but I got to start, those little posture things, I got to start getting a little bit, addressing those. Not necessarily reprimanding, but addressing them. Let's back him up. He's going to probably get upset when I back him up. That was pretty good. And see how he wants to turn? See, he doesn't want to back up. He would rather leave me than back up. So I'll get in front of him. See, he's flipping his nose, so I'll wait. See? Because he has to be submissive to do that. Okay? He'll back up, but not give me two eyes and back up. Good. He's settled there. I'll kind of release there. Now we'll back him up. See, he wants to leave me instead of back up. And like I was saying, that's because that's a very submissive. And if he starts to get real submissive with me, as far as his dialogue and his communication, then he's taking that spot down in the pecking order. He's still trying to jockey for position. Step in front. Let's move that hip. Good. Let's take a step back. Nice. Before he wanted to leave me, he gave me one give, and then I got out of there. He's like, so I kind of got him, I kind of got him moving and flowing, and then I asked him for one and got out of there. I'm like, I got you. Right? Okay? Because he just really resisted wanting to do that, and that's very normal. You can have one that's really dominant. You can have one that's really, not. And you can, it just depends on, just like all of us are a little bit different. Some of us are a lot more assertive and natural leaders. Some of us are more followers, right? It's just the way that, it's the way the cookie crumbles.
We hope you guys enjoyed sitting in on a little preview of Matt's clinic. We certainly enjoyed his clinic. If you want to check out more from him, then check him out on Instagram or Facebook under Mustang Packer Matt. There's only a couple hours still to adopt these horses, and there's still quite a few available. All the available horses will be up in next month's adoption event. If you guys see an available horse that you really like, then go ahead and check out on the BLM webpage or on Matt's Facebook or Instagram for dates and more info on the next event. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, then don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have a lot more Mustang content in the future.